I'm here today to talk about a few issues such as resource management, environmental concerns, and warfare. These are three things that, if I stop to think about, I usually end up feeling like the world will never ever be the same again. And, well, they're all distinctly related to the concept of apocalypse. And this is primarily what I wanted to discuss. Now, basically, I'm of the opinion that with the amount of power, with technology, and the amount of resources and the capability to affect change that we have on this earth, our goal should be to produce ultimately as much earthly paradise as we can possibly contrive. Now, this is not really a socialist agenda or communist kind of statement. I think people that have a lot of money should still have a lot of money. I believe that there should be certain amazing and unusually exceptional people that have high levels of power, because I think that's an important part of life. And I think there should be people that have much less. As far as everybody being equal, it's a nice idea, but it's never actually true. If we can produce equality under the law, it would be a good thing to put effort into, but even that's not necessarily true. I mean, I'm not black, and I've been pulled over, and I know I'm not black when I get pulled over because I don't care that I'm being pulled over. And that's it. I don't take it personally, let's put it that way. And I also don't live in the South. But anyway, back to the topic of discussion. Regarding equality, you try the best you can to make it seem fair. I mean, equality is a kind of ideology that is in regards to fairness, that life should be fair for people. There should be a give and take. There should be a result to your actions. You should not spend 40 years digging in the dirt just to give your entire work's effort to the Lord who lives in a castle doing nothing but maybe killing people somewhere else with his soldiers. I mean, this system was designed to produce the bourgeoisie. The American system was designed to give the power to the people, and it's worked. Within a democracy, and it's been proven, the kind of distinctions between the most powerful and the least powerful are diminished somewhat, and there is an active and successful and somehow, at least as far as it can be, content middle class. And generally, since the beginning, this has continued, and it's been continuing in this kind of way, but I've kind of heard that in recent decades there's been a lessening of the middle class and a greater discrepancy between the very rich and very poor. I mean, this is all just kind of part of life, and I think it doesn't make sense for there to be people who don't have any access to food, unless it's a very unusual circumstance. I mean, I don't see why there isn't some way to produce enough food, because God knows we waste tons of it all the time. I mean, it's about resource management and distribution. And if we, there's benefit to us for feeding people. If we know that a part of our life is designated to making sure that people that we don't even necessarily know, but for the sake of our own ideology about what life should be and how we should live, put effort into making something better in a very basic way for another person. And, and this occurs through this charity. But the point is, there's still more people. There's enormous numbers of people that don't have the resources needed to survive. There's people born into a life where there's no food to eat, and they live long enough to starve to death. I mean, in a culture, in a global culture, a global kind of development level, where we can speak seemingly face to face with somebody on the other side of the planet without even paying a single cent of our own money in our cushy lives in the first world. We can talk to somebody between New York and Sydney in Australia over Skype for free. We've produced this amazing result at this point. I mean, the amount of information available is staggering. We've done amazing things, and yet there's millions and millions of people, even within the first world, that don't have enough access to food to have healthy food requirements in their life. Like, we can take a ship outside of our own planet and have people walk on another giant stone in the sky, like another one that's not this one, that's pretty far away. We can do this because we like to think highly of ourselves and for no real practical reason whatsoever. We can do this just because we think we're cool, just because we think we're powerful. and we should do something like that. Because there really is no practical consideration in sending somebody to the moon. And yeah, we can do things like that, but we don't have the power, or we don't have the inclination to do what it takes to feed everybody who lives. I mean, the United States began as a sort of utopianist concept. We were looking at the ideologies of the past, which require a total dominion of the top over everything else. And we said, we don't like this because this isn't a way to feel free, and this isn't really producing a morally a sound government system that serves the people. And we did something totally unusual, and it was to create a more perfect nation. That statement, to create a more perfect nation, should apply at any point in history where there could be a change to benefit the statement's desire. If you can produce a more perfect nation, you don't do it at the Declaration of Independence and then you stick to that idea as though that is the perfect thing and that's the end all. You should always seek to produce a more perfect nation. Everything falls apart and we need to produce positive results anyway. Things change over time, and the requirements of what it takes to make people happy and content with their lives changes over time too. People finding happiness and contentment 300 years ago would not qualify what it takes as people do now. And a recognition of the fact that change happens, and not only that, change itself has been revolutionized by the advent of computers, because now we're changing change itself. We've created an acceleration curve of technological change that's caused by the type of technology that we produce in the first place. It's just inherent to computers' nature to develop much more rapidly than other aspects of development. And yeah, it's mind-boggling to think of I'm lucky. I live a cushy life. I've had it made. I've never went hungry, and I've always had a roof over my head and a bed to sleep in, and I'm lucky. But it almost hurts me to think that this isn't a norm, like across the board. I don't see why people who can do the most amazing things that I can even think about can't take time out of their day to take their own emotional benefit of being morally actually outstanding as individuals, to take time to make sure people have what they need, like the basic, and it does, the appeal does go out to the most powerful people, because who has the most effect and influence on life. Or maybe the appeal goes out to the people in general. It's on YouTube, and I want people to look at this and think about it. I personally give to charity, and I don't have much of anything. I don't really get much of anything. I'm dependent on my own folks at this point. I'm out of work. And if I have any money, I will give something away regardless, just because I feel that it benefits my emotions to have a sort of internal secret understanding that I'm a generous person and I do care for people even if I don't know them. And that's the result. I don't consider it giving anything away. I'm purchasing an identity characteristic and a series of experiences or perceptions that are involving that specific identity characteristics. I'm buying a persona. I'm buying a characteristic of a person, which is being generous and caring. And I don't see why people don't understand, because if you can feel that way about yourself, you feel like I feel good about myself, and I think people think I'm a good person. That's enough to make me feel good about myself, as long as I'm not being kind of manipulated or insulted over being whatever. I just, if it's an appreciation of something that I do that is good, I like that. All I'm saying is, $500 billion in this country paid by the citizens, who I will guarantee would say they would like the most perfect nation possible, goes towards an effort that has, beyond any shadow of a doubt, destroyed our own quality of life. And I don't know what the outcome is of the war in Iraq or Afghanistan, but I think it's pretty much just as bad as it was at the beginning at this point. It may technically be worse. I don't know if we've helped or made it worse, and I don't know what the point was other than a need to lash out at something that had hurt us at the beginning. So yeah, considering environmental change and possible annihilation of the enormous amount of beauty on this planet, and the fact that we do have the power to create a more perfect nation, or in this sense, I think more perfect world would be better. I don't see that it is anything less than a total responsibility for people who can make a difference to do so. And, maybe kill less, create positive experience more. You get what you give. What goes around comes around. You always get what you want in the end, so be careful what you wish for. That's all I have to say.